Have you ever wondered what it would be like if every planet in our solar system were the size of Earth? Get ready to explore this mind-blowing scenario. Imagine what each planet would look like if they were as big as our beloved blue planet. Would the barren red landscape of Mars transform into a lush green oasis? Would the massive, swirling gas giant Jupiter simply vanish? And how would this affect our solar system as a whole? Are we all in trouble? Buckle up, and let's dive in to find out. First on our list is Mercury, the smallest planet in our solar system. But forget the tiny, moon-like Mercury you know. Imagine standing on the surface of a superheated, glowing inferno, surrounded by craters and active volcanoes. The blindingly bright sun looms huge in the sky, a true nightmare. But what would really happen if Mercury were the size of Earth? With increased mass and gravity, Mercury might develop a thicker atmosphere, which could help distribute heat more evenly across the planet. But that's not all. Mercury's larger size could lead to more internal heating due to gravitational compression, potentially increasing tectonic activity. In other words, more dramatic landscapes, higher mountains, and more terrifying active volcanoes. Congratulations, you've just turned Mercury into Venus 2.0. These changes would make it much harder to send spacecraft there, so maybe it's best for Mercury to stay small, calm, and, well, boring, basically the complete opposite of our next planet, Venus. So, what would happen to Venus if it were Earth-sized? Actually, not much would change. That's because Venus is already almost the same size as Earth. Often called Earth's twin, though they're far from identical, Venus is one of the most inhospitable places in our solar system. Its surface is hotter than a freshly baked pizza, around 900 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's covered in thick clouds of sulfuric acid that would dissolve any human who dared to visit. So, no vacation plans to Venus anytime soon. Now let's move on to a planet that, unlike Venus, could potentially become a new home for us, Mars. Picture yourself standing on the surface of a Mars the size of Earth, watching a blue sunset and breathing in a refreshing breeze of air. Yes, you heard that right. A bigger Mars could have a stronger magnetic field and gravity, leading to a denser atmosphere that might even include oxygen. Wouldn't that be amazing? A denser atmosphere could also help distribute heat more evenly across Mars, making it warmer and more comfortable. And here's the most exciting change: liquid water. Mars already has frozen water at its poles and in underground reservoirs, but with stronger gravity, it could potentially maintain liquid water on its surface. Hooray! But it's not all fun and games. A larger Mars would likely have increased volcanic activity, making it both greener and more dangerous. Still, it would be fascinating to see. But now, it's time to talk about the giants of our solar system. If we were to shrink Jupiter to the size of Earth, we'd be in for a disaster. Jupiter's strong gravity currently attracts asteroids, protecting us from potential impacts. But as a smaller planet, Jupiter would lose its thick atmosphere, making it harder to hold on to. Over time, it might even lose its iconic appearance, leaving us vulnerable to a whole bunch of asteroids. And what about Saturn? Its stunning rings might either collapse onto the planet or scatter into space if Saturn were Earth-sized. Saturn, like Jupiter, is a gas giant, mostly composed of hydrogen and helium. If it were squeezed down to Earth's size, its gases would be compressed, making Saturn much denser and potentially even turning it into a brown dwarf, a failed star that emits heat and light. This means Saturn might stop being a planet altogether, and its infamous storms would likely weaken and calm down. Next, we have Uranus. If Uranus were shrunk to Earth's size, its surface gravity would be much weaker, and its atmosphere might thin out or change entirely. Though Uranus is pretty chilly, with temperatures averaging around -353 degrees Fahrenheit, it might warm up a bit due to the reduced volume to surface area ratio. But don't get too excited, it would still be colder than the coldest places on Earth. Finally, let's talk about Neptune. Surprisingly, if Neptune were smaller, it might become much more hospitable. A shrunken Neptune would likely be a rocky planet with a thin atmosphere, making it easier for humans to live and move around. And with gravity almost the same as Earth's, you wouldn't have to worry about floating away into space. The atmosphere of the original Neptune is so thick that you'd barely see your hand in front of your face, and its surface pressure is about 100 times that of Earth's atmosphere. But a smaller Neptune would be much different, with a thinner and less dense atmosphere. It would still have some methane, water, and ammonia, but nowhere near as much as before. And it would be much warmer, too, definitely more inviting. That's it for the changes in the planets, but what would happen to the entire solar system if we made all the planets Earth-sized? It's hard to say for sure, but their gravity and orbits would likely change significantly. While it's unlikely that any planets would fly off into space or collide with each other, many of their orbits could become unstable, leading to more asteroid collisions. Of course, all of this is just speculation. We can't actually test these ideas, but it's still a fascinating thought experiment. It makes you appreciate just how unique and special our solar system really is. That's all for today. If you enjoyed this exploration, be sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and stay tuned to Infotics for more mind-bending content.